Bringing Doc Emrick, NHL and NBC play-by-play. And let me start there, Doc. Have you ever seen a puck stop like that last night?
The closest I can remember is the 92 Olympics when there's a shootout between Canada and Germany, and the puck lay on the line behind Sean Burke but didn't cross it. And the ice was vacated, and the arena was vacated, and the puck still lay there. Wish I could have gotten it.
Were you watching on a monitor, or are you watching as a fan would to see that play?
No, it was after the fact. The last one with the little miniature snow fort there that kept it from going over, I couldn't see that at all with all the humanity in front. The first one, you could tell somewhat that it was on the line. Eddie had a very good look at it and said right away that it did not cross. And because of my angle and trying to find the puck through Henrik Lundqvist, I couldn't tell.
But you grabbed the rule book, or the rule book grabbed you right away, and you were right on top of that, of what you can and can't do with the puck in that position.
Yeah, and Wes McCauley is one of the better officials. I know the officials have been targeted, but he's a second-generation referee in his family, and his father was very good, too. And Wes is one of the brighter young officials, and he had great position there. And he would not have hesitated to call a penalty shot. He called the only one that's taken place in the playoffs this year in the Anaheim series. So he wouldn't have been reluctant, but he was watching it, and our camera behind the net was just perfect to show not only what he was seeing, but then the one inside the net showed the defensive play that was made, and all legal.
What was the difference last night?
The difference was Henrik Lundqvist. There were no penalties called in the third period, but it was just like the Rangers were penalty killing the whole period. And it was just one rush right after the other. There's some brilliant passing on the part of the Kings, and they had to leave the ice knowing that they played their best game of this series, and the Rangers probably played their worst one. But isn't that the odd thing about sports, and particularly about this spontaneous game of hockey, that the team that played poor had a wonderful goaltender, and they won?
But if you look at this series, Doc, it doesn't make sense, because I thought the Rangers were probably the better team during regulation in games 1 and 2, and they lost.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I agree with you. But they didn't get the victory. I mean, Lundqvist was spectacular in the third period of the first game, but all of this is just what makes this so exciting at this time of the year. There are times that you don't sleep too well because you're excited about what you've seen and anticipating what you'll see next. And what we'll see next will be pretty spectacular, too. Everybody will get to travel. I guess the Kings went out about as fast as they could last night, and the Rangers are going to travel and practice today. But there's such a carryover from a thrilling finish like that last night. I think even Kings fans felt that their team gave the best effort to try and win the game, and they just failed. It was just a great goaltending performance.
NBC's Doc Emrick joining us before he departs for Los Angeles. As the King, and talking to Al Michaels and some of these Kings fans, they're like, we want to clinch on our home ice. So now all of a sudden they're being greedy. What kind of Ranger team is going to travel now?
Yeah, that is fun, isn't it? I think, too, that one of the secret things about winning it on the road, and this sounds odd, but we've seen at NBC, we like teams that win the cup to win it at home because the crowd adds such a greater element to it. Majority of times we've seen road clinches. The advantage to the team clinching is that the cup belongs to them and no one else for probably 24 hours until they arrive back in the city, and then it starts to take its tour and no one sleeps for a while. But you have it on your charter aircraft. It belongs to you, and it's not a matter of public domain yet.
The greatest goaltending performance you've ever seen?
Wow. There have been so many great ones over the years, and I think back to some of Patrick Roy's when he was with Montreal and then with Colorado, and Marty Brodeur's in some of those championship years. Can't imagine. I don't think I could pick the top 15, let alone one.
Wow. What about Thomas with the Bruins?
Yeah. You think immediately of the wraparound try by Steve Downey in the Tampa Bay series and some of those saves he made against Vancouver. I think that's one of the things that gave the Rangers hope, was that only 3 years before we went into Vancouver and we were hearing the discussion amongst all of us know-it-alls, right, was will Vancouver win this in 4 or in 5 games? And then, of course, Boston lost the first 2 in Vancouver just to prove us right. And then all of a sudden, Tim Thomas and the rest of the team rallied, and it became one of the most lopsided 7th games you'll ever see. And Boston waltzed on. Nothing says the Rangers can't do that, but Los Angeles, talent-wise and depth-wise, is far greater, and they showed that last night. But The scoreboard out in Los Angeles, if it's turned on at this hour, still says 0-0. So we're going to start all over again in Game 5. And Al will be there.
I need you to get on the public address system on the flight and maybe just greet the folks when they come on. Have you ever done that before? I'd like to hear you announcing, that Trey's in an upright lock position.
There is a set of rules they have to go through, and I'm impressed by the ones who can do it without reading it. I don't think I'd be that good at that. By the way, if McLovin were any younger, you would be guilty of cruelty to child labor laws.
Why?
How does he get all that goalie equipment in the box like that? The poor guy, I thought he was out of a Roger Corman movie or something.
Well, I had to have him padded because Roenick was in here, and JR likes to take a couple of shots, so I was...
He is reckless.
Yes, I was protecting McLovin from Jeremy Roenick.
Well, what I saw that day on Seton, he didn't really move too well anyway without the equipment on.
Yeah, I didn't hire him because of their athletic ability, Doc.
That's good. You guys have a lot of fun. That's why it's fun to watch.
Doc, safe travels as always, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Doc Emrick.